Okay, so this is the outdoor galley, outdoor kitchen, and it is locked. So for the key for that is the small silver key here. So you have a refrigerator out here. It will not turn on automatically. This does not run on gas. This only runs on electric. So once you get to your campsite, if you want to use this and you're hooked up to power, all you do is just turn the knob to your desired temperature. And then once you're done with it, just turn the knob back to 0. You have a sink out here. To get to the stove, you flip that up. You pull this out. There is a lever here that you pull out so that stays up. And then what you'll do to connect it to gas is just like an airlock fitting. And you come down underneath. And connect it there. There, it's in place. Flip the switch up and you have gas out here to cook outside. You flip that open, that's your air protection, and then you just light it with a lighter. Of note, when you're done with this and it's cooled down, you do want to make sure that you disconnect the gas line before sliding that in, because it will not go in and it will break. So make sure that that's taken care of there. Flip the gas lock, the lever up or down to close the gas line. Pull that in, and that just slides right back under there. And that's it. And that's the outdoor galley. You may want to be careful at windy times with this. The wind can catch it and it can rip it right off. So if you're not using it, I would close it and keep that closed. Speaking of which, let's go over the awning. So the awning is another nice thing to keep yourself cool, but if it is windy, you never want to leave this, you never want to leave the awning up if it is unattended. So if you're not here, you're going to want to put the awning in. It's an electric awning. It's super easy to operate. You just push the button to extend it, and out it goes. Be careful, it does collect water, so you don't want to be right under it and like grip on you. Extend it all the way. Don't worry if it comes out crooked, it will correct itself. So you extend it all the way, and then you're going to just pull back in a little bit because it lifts it up, and then it brings this drip edge down so that when the rain comes, it'll run off. If it is raining, if you're expecting rain, you're going to want to adjust the awning a little bit. And to do that, you just pull this down, pull one side down here, and then you have a knob, and you just twist that to lock it in place, and that'll help the rain run off the one edge of it. We usually do it to the opposite edge because the door is right here. So that is the awning, and then to put it back in, it's just the opposite of extending it. You just go in here and hit retract, and that'll pull it in. So why don't you come over here and I'll show you the other controls here. So we have a few more controls here. So we have the gas. So this LP gas, what that's talking about, that is for the water heater. So if you're wanting to run the water heater, just flip that on, okay? Make sure that you flip it off once you're traveling, because we don't want that running without water in it. If you're hooked up to electric, and again, this is another instance where if you're hooked up to 50 amp, that's great because you can use the electric water heater, you can use the electric on the fridge, the microwave, all that, it'll be fine. So if you're at a place where you have good electric, you can hit the electric button. You don't want both of these on ever at the same time, okay? So it's either one or the other. It cannot be both. And then if you are dry camping, this is where you'll turn the water pump on. Unless you're dry camping, like if you had to fill your water tank, Let's say you're at the fair or something like that, and we need to fill up with water. That's where you're going to use the water pump. It may take a little bit to prime, and you'll hear it, but that's what you'll do for the water pump. Okay, and then to check and see how much water you have, you just hit the fresh button here, and it'll light up. Can you see it there? Yeah. So it'll light up and it'll show you how much fresh water you have. The other ones are the black and gray. They aren't always accurate. So the tanks are empty right now, but they get some crud built up on the sensors in there, and then it doesn't exactly show accurately. But that's it for the controls. Okay, for the bunk room, pretty simple. Pretty much anybody can sleep up on this bed. It's got a 300-pound weight limit, but this one does have a 150-pound weight limit, so you got to be careful about who sleeps on this bed. Again, when you're opening it, just make sure that everything's out of the way. To utilize the sofa underneath, just flip that up. It's held up by gas shocks. We do have some extra supplies in here that are just some things that we keep around. I don't care if you take this out and just put it under the camper, that's fine. But then for the bed, just take the cushions off. And I'll move this out of the way. This part comes out. The back of the couch actually flips down. And then this just has two legs that pop out there. And then you can just throw the pillows back on there. And that makes into a bed. I believe it's about a full-size bed, but not too bad. And then just put it back. Other than that, not much back here. This is where the kids hang out a lot of times. There's outlets for their devices if you want that. Plenty of storage for their clothes in the dressers. And there is a vacuum back here. There's some games you guys are welcome to use. So that's about it. Okay, so when it comes time to pack up, and you need to dump, as far as the black tank you definitely want to keep closed the entire time you're there. Now, if it gets too full, you want to dump it, but I don't think we've ever got to the point where it was too full. But you want to keep the black tank closed because if you keep it open and it's just draining it, like if you have a full hookup site and it has the sewage right there, you do want to keep the black tank closed because the junk can just sit in there and sometimes it doesn't run all the way out. So we want to have all the liquid in there to help it move out. So, but if you are at a full hookup site and you want to shower and leave that open, that's fine. Just make sure that on that last day you do close the valve, and I'll show you how to do that here in a second, because we do need the gray tank to help rinse out the hose of the black tank. So the hoses for that are right here. There's one on each side. You may only need one. We usually only need one unless it's a really long run and you're not close to it. But to hook it up, we have two. So we have the black tank, we have the bathroom gray tank here, and then the galley, the kitchen gray tank is up there. But for now, we're just going to do I'm going to show you how to do the black and the gray tank. So you just pop that off, clamp that on, and then what we would do is we would pull this straight back, and that's going to open up the black tank. So you will always want to dump the black tank first, every time. So dump the black tank, and then after that's running and you can hear it draining and you think that it's almost empty, then you go ahead and pull the gray tank, and that's just going to help flush all that garbage down into the sewage tank. Once you're done, just disconnect this. Make sure you put the cap on and secure that. And then you're going to take this hose and you're going to rinse the hose into the sewage tank. Just make sure it's nice and semi-clean for the next person to use. And then we put this back in there. Pop the cover back on. And that's it. And then you would repeat the same process for the front gray tank. And that's it. Okay, so for hooking up the hitch, the weight distribution hitch from the truck to the trailer, first drop the trailer onto the ball and then lock it in. In order to get the bars, the weight distribution bars on, you're gonna have to raise this up quite a ways, probably as high as it'll go. And it's going to start lifting the truck up. That's okay. So then the side bar goes in the hitch receiver, slides on there. When you put the pin in from the inside out. It just makes it a whole lot easier to get the clip off afterwards. So slide that in there, throw that on there. The next part, this goes down in there. Flip that down so it doesn't come out. We'll come over to the other side, do the same thing to the other side. Hook your safety chains on. Plug in your controller here, your wire. This does have electronic brakes on it, so you will need a brake controller. And then you can go ahead and drop it off. And it's ready to pull forward. You can cut it.